Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name's EJ Marino and this is About Last Night, the show where I talk about the movie I saw last night. We are diving into a brand new review today of the film Ready or Not. This is a review I wanted to come in with a little bit more positivity. Now, by no means do I hate Ready or Not. I actually think this is one of the more inventive, one of the more interesting mainstream horror films in quite some time. But I do have issues with the movie. I do think there are some major flaws in the script, not with the actual writing, not with the plot, but with some of the jokes. We'll dive into that in a little bit. But this movie, there's something about it that keeps me from loving it. I'm like in a good relationship with him. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna friend zone this movie. I like you, but as a friend. I don't love you, I'm not in love with you, I just like you, and that's what Ready or Not does for me. There's a lot in this movie to enjoy. Samara Weaving is one of the best scream queens we've had in decades. Her and, oh my god, Jessica Rothe in Happy Death Day need to do something together. They have similar badass blonde girl energy. I'm a big fan of Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Samara Weaving reeks Sarah Michelle Gellar. She gives me Buffy vibes. She gives me Cece Cooper from Scream 2. She gives me Daphne from Scooby-Doo. Every iconic Sarah Michelle Gellar role, it's like Samara Weaving is that kind of like, that vibe, that energy. She is fantastic in this movie, an actual revelation. Like, she puts this movie in a backpack and carries it like a mad woman. I love her in this movie. Now, the rest of the cast, oh boy, there's some unlikable characters. There's some very unlikable characters. Actually, other than Samara Weaving's, like, Grace character, there's really no one to enjoy in this movie. Her husband character, not that great. Now, Adam Brody's character, he has his moments. He goes in and out. Andie MacDowell, one of my queens, she's okay in this movie. Now, that's what sucks. This family is so unlikable. Between what they're doing to Grace, to what they're doing in general, like their whole path of being rich was selling their soul to the devil kind of vibe. Nah, not how I like my rich people to be kind of things. You know, there's a lot about them I don't like, but also it's the humor that's written for these characters. A lot of the jokes in this movie fall so flat. A lot of them just go, wait, that was a joke? Like, maybe it's my audience who's really receptive to all the attempted comedy in this movie, but people were laughing and I was going, but this is like a somewhat dramatic moment. Like, she just found out all of this is happening and we're going, ha ha ha, what a knee slapper. No, and I think the movie, it's not just on the audience. I do think the movie presents itself in a somewhat horror comedy kind of way. But what happened to a straight up horror movie? I don't want so much comedy in my horror. Ready or Not follows Grace, a bride on her wedding night, dealing with the strangest in-laws of all time. They have this weird ritual where they have to play a game and they have to hunt her, and she has to survive to dawn, or well, basically, like, she could try to survive to dawn, because if they don't kill her, a crazy thing's gonna happen to them, because they did this weird ritual and they've done this for years and years and years. A fairly easy plot. I didn't think anything was wrong in the plot issue, in the actual, like, screenplay. I think it's actually fairly tight. There's things presented in the movie that I'm like, well, that's going to come back later, and it does. There's a lot of callbacks. There's a lot of characters that have growth. There are some arcs in this movie, but again, it's the comedy in this movie that really drags it down. It goes, like, it's that second act especially. That second act almost gets like slapstick Benny Hill at times. Like, here's her running, here's someone chasing her, here's us accidentally killing a maid. None of this is really spoiled because it's all in the trailer. But yeah, like, all this, I'm like, oh, great, cool, but I kind of just want to be scared. I was hoping more for a movie like You're Next, and this was a little bit more like The Babysitter, which is another Samara Weaving movie. But yeah, I wanted something a little bit more like You're Next, a little bit more brutal. Look, I don't mind moments of levity. One of my favorite horror movies of all time is Scream, and there's some great moments to undercut some of the tension with like a, whew, I needed to laugh. Midsommar this year, there was times in Midsommar that were genuinely funny, and Ari Aster was going for it. Now, the directors here, they're collectively known as Radio Silence. I just don't know if this was the exact tone they were intending. Honestly, I think the tone of this movie is a bit confused, and that's kind of where my biggest issues fall. The last 20 minutes, though, oh boy, that's the movie I want. It feels like a lot of the comedy is dropped. Now, there's some crazy, absurd things that happen in that last 20 minutes. I mean, some of the last moments of this movie, you're like, what? Like, but yeah, those are the moments where I feel like they cut out a lot of the BS that they were doing before to kind of like, I feel like they didn't want to go a brutal horror movie route, which is fair, but I think they sacrificed what could have been a good thrilling movie about a bride getting revenge about her wedding night being ruined. That was there. There was elements of that movie inside, and I didn't get that movie. So do I blame Ready or Not fully for me going into a movie expecting something different, wanting something different? It's a little hard because I think this movie had potential to be a thrilling horror ride, but they went a horror comedy route, which feels so common in a lot of indie movies. You have The Final Girls, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, like The Babysitter that I mentioned. There's a lot of these movies that do go for comedy above just straight up horror movies, and that's fair, but I guess right now I just wanted to be scared. I wanted to have a good time watching this woman get revenge, and I'm like, she gets some kind of revenge, but it's not how you think. It's not how you honestly would want, and that's one of my biggest complaints here, because I just wanted to love this movie more, and I think that's where I'm getting frustrated, because I was like, there's potential, I smell it, there's a great movie in here, but I'm left with an okay movie. Like I said in the beginning, Samara Weaving is an actual Scream queen. She's going to be a force in horror, and we need to watch out for her. If anything is taken away from this movie, cast her in more. She is everything. From the scares, to the action, to the tension, to the comedy. She can carry it all. A blessing. If you're going to see Ready or Not for anything, see it for her because, yeah, she's awesome. She deserves it. I want to see her have everything. Like I said, there's a movie like The Babysitter she's in. I think maybe they should have went that route with it. Maybe going Netflix, streaming, so the horror community can find this and they can kind of mold the reception of it. But now with mainstream audiences tackling this, I really don't know how it's going to feel. I don't know how it's going to do at the box office. I'm a little torn with this movie in all aspects. If you would have told me Ready or Not would have left me this frazzled, I thought this was going to be a simple little quick horror movie, just in and out, and I'm just like, God, there's a lot of stuff left on the table here. There's a lot of feelings I have, and I'm surprised I have these things. At least this movie made me feel something, and I'm just not bored like I was with Annabelle Comes Home, and I'm like, well, I forgot about that movie. At least this one made me feel things, so props to that. That is my review of Ready or Not. I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. Overall, I like the movie, but I'm not in love with it. Like I said, I put it in the friend zone. What do you guys think of this review? What do you think of Ready or Not? Are you excited for this movie? Let me know down in the comments below. Have you even seen commercials? What's the hype level for this? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel because I make videos like this every single week. I'm so excited for American Horror Story coming up, some horror movies in September, October. Yes, make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you join into my channel. I cannot wait to talk about Ready or Not with you below.